V'hayu Yom Tovim LiYisrael k'chamisha asar ba'av Yom Kippurim. There were not holidays to the Jewish people, our sages say in the Talmud, like the 15th day of the month of Av and Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement. Now we understand Day of Atonement. That's a very special day. You're forgiven, you're atoned, you start a whole new slate. But the 15th of Av, today being the 14th, on the eve of the 15th, what's so special about that day? That it is a great holiday, a greater holiday than even Passover and Shavuos, Sukkot, according to the sages in the Talmud. What happened on that day, actually, that makes it so special? Well, it's a full moon. The full moon of every month, though, is special. Well, stay tuned. We'll let you know more about that. Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are around the globe joining us. In Tanya today, I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zech and Kadesh in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you, the Tanya, each and every day. Michael in Germany, welcome. We have June in Australia, where she's getting ready to have sweet dreams with Tanya, where it's very late. Erica in Norway is with us. John in North Carolina. Vaclav in Czech Republic. Clem in Brisbane, Australia. Simcha is joining us in Florida. Yan in Mexico has joined us. Liba and Davida, twin sisters in New York. Julia is in Pennsylvania with us. Tim in Texas, welcome. Stan has greetings from London, England for us. While Cindy is in Tampa Bay, Florida. Louise in Sydney, Australia. Vincent is in Alberta in Canada. Yan in Mexico. Michelle in the Philippines. Deborah in Kitchener. Welcome back, Deborah. Diane in Arizona is with us. Irina in Colorado. Daphne in South Carolina having a terrific Tuesday. David in California. Okay. Mention everybody here. We have Vilma and Michael. We have Instagrammers. Akoya Lima, Peru. We have Adult Human. Hamid in Montreal. Jersey in Florida. Sounds like a Jersey Jew. Be in Florida, of course. Rachel, South Carolina. Alice in Baltimore. Aliza. That's it, Aliza. Formerly of New Jersey in Florida. Tzivia Bella in New York. And Talaventa. Beautiful. Okay. B'Yud-K, which is the first two letters of the Tetragrammaton, God's name, it itself is a name in itself. God creates everything. Well, the spiritual realm, Gan Eden, with the letter Yud, and this physical world with the letter Hey. The letter Yud is the beginning of every letter, if you look. It's the beginning of the Hey. It's the beginning of the Vav. It's written like a dot. Well, a dot's the beginning of a line. Any movement will in writing, we'll start with a dot, so the yud can be represented by a dot. It is chachma, divine wisdom. Divine wisdom. Wisdom doesn't translate properly because wisdom is a graspable intelligence, but chachma is beyond grasp. It is what we call kadmus haseichel. It transcends comprehensible intelligence. It's that flash of ingenuity, the idea, the seed that enters the mind, by way of example. You don't grasp it yet, you see it. Grasping means you hear it, you understand it. Detail, point by point. Okay, you just see the whole thing. It's there in potential, and therefore it is this source of understanding in Bina. So, the beginning, the first of the divine attributes is Chachma. It's the source of everything in creation. Well, the spiritual realm in Gan Eden, where the souls are tantalized, as it were, by the ray of light that comes from Chachma, that gives them a sense of connection, the souls there, that they delight in the Garden of Eden. That's where souls go after our time in this world. And as we explained, that Chachma is the beginning of all forms of speech. Well, that's what we explained till now. That speech is how God creates the world, and the source of that is in Chachma. As we understand that speech is developmental, it's not a matter of intelligence. A child can have an understanding, but yet not be able to communicate, to speak. Right? My 3-year-old son, many moons ago, had intelligence and displays great intelligence today, but at 3 was having difficulty in speech. Why? Because it's developmental. It's not a matter of intelligence. And it's rooted in Chachma. And that's what it means the father founded the daughter. Father being Chachma, daughter being Malchus, speech. So that's the source of God's speech as he creates the world from the Word of God. If that's the case, then wouldn't this world also be sourced in the letter Yud that creates this world, because it's the source of the divine speech? But we said that the spiritual realm, Gan Eden, it's sourced in Yud, but the Hey is what creates this world, which Hey here means Bina, understanding. Why isn't it from the Yud of Chachma, being it's the source of the letters of speech? So the answer is, that's true. Well, the letters of speech are sourced in Chachma, but speech has 2 components to it. That part is the form of speech. But there's also the matter of speech. Just like there's a body and soul, so likewise body is the matter and the soul is the form. So in speech likewise, the truth is in everything there is that component. Form being the inner component, body being the outer component. So what does that mean in speech? Let's understand that. So when speaking the form, right, the inner dimension, there's 5 things that create the form of letters. My lips, letter Pei. My tongue, Lamed. My teeth, Shin. My palate, Chaf. And my larynx is Ches. That is all the form of speech. And that form of speech will make up 22 different types of letters. But of course, that's not sufficient to have form, because without the matter of speech, you won't have verbalization of speech. Because with form, I could say, so I just formed those letters, but you didn't hear me because there was no matter in the speech. Didn't have the body of speech. And what is the body of speech? Is breath. The breath itself. Right? In order to verbalize, verbalize means to make it external, that it actually is heard outside of me. So you need breath. Breath is the external, body is the external, as opposed to the form is the internal aspect of speech. It's the soul of speech. That soul of speech is rooted in the letter Yud. But the breath of speech is, well, what letter makes a sound? You guessed it. Hey. Hey is when it's pronounced. It's just a breath. There's not much for it. The breath is more emphasized in form. Now, of course, you need form and matter in everything. You need body and soul in everything. Or the question is, what is dominant? So in the letter Hey, what's dominant is the breath. So the Hey then becomes the source of the matter, the body of the letters, before they're divided into the division of 22 letters. That's why our sages say that this world was created with the letter Hey. It's more, this world compared to the spiritual world where Gan Eden is much more external. It's much more matter driven than form driven and soul driven as the spiritual realm is. That's today's thought. It's a short one, powerful one, important one to appreciate and understand. The act of creator within creation. Any questions? Vincent, I would wonder why, that's why we refer to Earth as her. Yes, because Earth is expression of Malchus. Malchus is feminine. Royalty is feminine quality. And Earth is that. Feminine quality means it's a recipient. The Earth is a recipient. It receives the seed in the ground and makes things grow. That's a feminine quality. right, do we see any questions? I don't see. How about deaf Jews? I don't understand what that question is, Michelle. Could you elaborate? You mean that they can't hear the word that's spoken? Not clear what the question is. Please elaborate. Any other? All right. Where we're going with this is to understand how we can make God's name. So we're understanding God's name and what it's doing. It's creating the spiritual realm with the letter Yud, Gan Eden in particular, and this physical world with the letter He. And that we have the capability of affecting the Creator by making His name through the act of charity. So what we're explaining now is first the act of Creator in the act of creation. We need to understand that. And how does that come about? So Michelle, you're asking about those who cannot hear. So, firstly, just to, we're talking about the concept over here of God as creator. So God does it through his speech. That's Malchus, right? Royalty, as we explained, as a king rules with his word. That's a feminine quality. And that, the root of speech is Chachma, as we explained, that it is not intelligence. One would think that our capability to communicate is based on intelligence. It isn't. It doesn't mean intelligence doesn't play a role in what we say, right? And how we say it. We're talking about the capacity to communicate, to speak. That capacity is coming from Chokhmah that transcends comprehension and understanding, which is Bina. So with that, we said that all of creation seemingly comes from that same point, that same letter Yud, not just the spiritual world, but the physical world too. And indeed it does. But specifically this physical world comes from the letter He, because in speech, as we explained, it's divided into two components. Everything has a body and a soul to it. The interior, exterior. The thing that's an end in itself, the thing that's a means to an end, so to speak. So the interior of speech, the soul of speech, is the 5 organs that create the form of different letters, like the letter Pei with your lips, Shin with your teeth, Lamed with your tongue, Gimel with your palate, and Ches with your larynx, gut. But then you need the matter of speech, the body of speech, which is the breath. And that makes it external, because that's what makes a verbalization that now takes your word and it's actually out there, verbalized out there. So someone who can't speak, or someone who can't hear the words because they're deaf, is, of course, we have compassion towards such an individual, and they should be blessed if they can. But we're using this by way of metaphor to appreciate and to understand the presence, of God in His speech. Yep. All right. Anything else? So I hope that helps, Michelle. The Vida, when we recite Shema and say, "Hear, O Israel," this is bringing Choma down here. What's Choma? What's Choma, if you don't mind? Okay, not clear what that means, Choma. Not a problem, Davida. All right. All right. Chochma, okay. I got it. Are we bringing Chochma down here? We're bringing Ein Sof via Chochma, yes. Via Chochma. All right. Excellent. All right, folks. Rambam coming up right after. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you for Chabad Zich and Kadeshim Metro County. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Have an amazing, great day. Thank you for joining.